Have you heard about the Golden Triangle or the Golden Crescent? I'll give you a clue. It is related to our last story about rave parties. When you hear about raves, what's the first thing that pops in your mind? Obviously drugs, illegal drugs. That's what the Golden Triangle and Crescent are about. They're the biggest opium-producing regions in the world. Why should you care about them? Why should we be talking about them? Because right in the middle of these two regions is India. Let me pull up a map. The Golden Triangle straddles Myanmar, Thailand and Laos. 3 countries, but most of the opium comes from Myanmar. The Golden Crescent is more to the west. It straddles Central and South Asia, basically Afghanistan and Pakistan. Now these two regions keep the world high. Together they produce most of the world's heroin. But things got better in the last 2 decades. Democracy came to Afghanistan and Myanmar. Opium cultivation tumbled. The war on drugs seemed to be working for a while. Enter 2021. This year was horrible for both the countries. The Taliban took power in Afghanistan. The military toppled the government in Myanmar. The result? Nobody cares about drugs anymore. The Taliban are busy targeting Afghan minorities and women. The Myanmar junta is busy crushing protests. So the drug mafia has a free run in both the countries. Let's start with the Golden Crescent. We know that every producer needs a middleman. For Afghanistan, that middleman is Pakistan. It's a well-oiled machinery. The opium is grown near the Af-Pak border in places like Kandahar and Helmand. From there, the drugs are transported through land to Pakistani ports. And there's a lot of tacit support from Islamabad for this. The local dons get a free pass. The government officials often look the other way. That's how it works. And so these drug shipments make it to sea. In rare cases, foreign navies catch them. I can give you examples. In August, Sri Lanka seized a fishing vessel with 290 kilograms of heroin. In September, they seized 2 ships. They were carrying around 500 kilos of heroin. The same month, India also made a huge drug bust. Around 3,000 kilograms of heroin was seized at the Mundra port in Gujarat. We're talking about millions of dollars here. Where do you think this money goes? To the drug mafia, to extremist groups. The Taliban may have promised to ban opium cultivation, but they have failed. Their warlords like the drug money. They like the shady jobs created by opium trade. It's the same story in Myanmar. The junta is reeling under sanctions. It is busy killing democracy. So drugs are not really a big priority. But Myanmar's neighbors cannot afford to ignore this crisis. The drugs produced in Myanmar do not stay there. They're shipped to Southeast Asia. The numbers support this. This year, Malaysia seized drugs worth $180 million. That's a 150% rise compared to last year. In Laos, crystal meth busts have risen 6 times. 2 months back, Laos made Asia's largest ever drug bust. 55 million meth tablets and 1.5 tons of crystal meth. Imagine if these drugs made it to the market. Imagine the damage they could do. India must also take note of this drug trade. 2 reasons why. Number 1, to protect Indian citizens from drug abuse. India lies in the middle of the Golden Triangle and the Golden Crescent, like we just showed you. So drugs can enter from both sides. In fact, it's already happening. Earlier this month, drugs worth 500 crore rupees were seized in Manipur. 54 kilograms of brown sugar and 155 kilograms of meth. 1 trafficker from Myanmar was also arrested. If these drugs trickle into the market, they could kick off a drug epidemic. So India should pay attention. That's reason number 1. Reason number 2, the security threat. Pakistan's deep state has consistently weaponized drugs. It has a 2-pronged strategy. A, use the drug money to fund terror, and B, destabilize border states by getting the youth addicted. And this is already happening in Kashmir and Punjab. So what can India do? Well, be more vigilant. Sweep the borders for drug trade routes. Conduct more checks and raids. Educate our youth on the evils of narcotics. Unfortunately, this is the price you pay for having bad neighbors. You have usurpers who don't care about drugs. You have broke governments who need the drug money. And you have terror sponsors trying to weaponize these drugs. Caught in the middle is India. It's not an ideal place to be. But with regular monitoring and good awareness, India can avoid this drug epidemic. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.